Good morning, starshine.
Welcome to the real world. Whoa! Mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with breathe air. There's no second best, okay?
GM. Breathe air. Trade of the day. So GOAT, might be time to get back in. Couple of things. It's come down into that sweep, right? And so I tried the first reclaim, came back to the 200 EMA on the 1 hour, came back up, back down, is holding. As the 50 crosses the 100 here, and basically as price moves into new highs, I think that's the place to start looking for a re-entry on GOAT. So I would wait for a 1221 green bands reclaim, which is going to happen on this candle most likely. And from there, you should see it just start to, if it is going to go for a final leg, at that point, you should see it just trend through to the highs and break out. Right? That would be in this fast trend. If it's had its first leg up, its first pullback, second leg up, second pullback, it should really just move from here and without any significant corrections, significant pullbacks. So that's what I'm watching for. On a lower time frame, there might be another entry, which you could see if there is a valid BOS here, if it breaks out and holds. And essentially, I think that it should not go to new lows from this point, and it should go all the way through to new highs if it's going to put in a proper final push. It should really be building up through the range from here. So I think after having let it do all this, not FOMOing in, letting it to consolidate, no trigger to enter on this first bounce, so you avoid that sweep. Because the first bounce, although it reclaimed the range, it did not put the bands green, and then it flushed back down. So same thing, looks like the bands are going to cross green, seems like it, but I would wait for the first confirmation of that, which we had over here as well. Like your candle closes that close with the reclaim and green bands, that's your entry point. So I'll be watching that today, getting in if that happens. With BTC moving up, it can steal attention away from everything else. However, GOAT seems to be holding up pretty well, and having had a period of choppy performance, it does seem now like it's ready to, if it's going to make its move through for a bigger breakout, it seems like it's going to happen from here. But there's no confirmation of that yet. We need to wait for that actual confirmation, and so I'll be watching that today. And that is it, really, for BTC, because since I finished recording, it's starting to pull back a little more. The thing to watch on BTC here, I mentioned with the open interest at the highs. The thing you want to see is, does it keep respecting its trend? So it's currently still respecting the 15-minute bands. So if that continues to happen, it's going to go higher. If it drops any lower, it can go to the 50, because that would not bring it into the gap. You basically don't want to see Bitcoin closing any hourly candles below 70.8. Anything down to there, even though it looks bad, is fine as long as it holds and just stays in this area here. It's going to build itself up for a breakout. If it starts going into that gap, it's probably going to fill that gap. If it starts to fill that gap, you're probably going to see it drop back down as the positions that built in here have to unwind. So you're looking at, if this area produces another move down, that it doesn't go much lower than about the 50 EMA on the 15-minute, which would be the first touch since there last night. So zoom it out. In this strong 15-minute trend, Bitcoin respects the 50 EMA and the bands. Right, the bands don't cross red, the 50 EMA holds. If Bitcoin drops back down here, as long as the 50 EMA holds, it doesn't matter so much if the bands turn red briefly, but you would wait for the reclaim to play your continuation. A bit like over here, where it lost the 15-minute trend, it came back down, but it held the 100. Your entry point is a reclaim. Now be mindful that I've talked about this yesterday, where for the Europeans and the burgers, you wake up and Bitcoin's gone higher, and then it's a chasing throughout the day. Here again, this was midnight, wake up, this morning, Bitcoin's pumped higher. So people who are offline over, the Asia session, which is basically most people in America and Europe, are having to chase this second day in a row now. So be mindful of pullbacks because there's a lot of open interest build up, and there is definitely a tendency for the market to have to feel like it's chasing into these moves, which can lead to some corrections. And have we had a 1 hour? Yeah, we haven't had a 1 hour touch the bands yet either. So Bitcoin is respecting the 1 hour trend on the fast trend. So respects the 1 hour bands here, respects them here, hasn't touched them yet. So if we fall back down, but it holds them and respects them, expect it to kick on from there. In bull markets or bullish moves or bullish trends, you want to wait for the actual attempt to sell off, not this tiny little 1 hour pullback. If Bitcoin kicks on from there, great. That's what it's done. You want to wait until there is some kind of actual pullback, like this, and see, does it respect? Does it hold on the thing that has been respecting previously? If so, probably taking a push to new highs and looking above at some of this liquidity. Maybe that's 72 would be the next target. These equal highs from back in May and June. And that will be what we're looking at next. So, GM to Bitcoin, GM to this bullish trend. Don't FOMO, and you know the game.